Deborah Morrison, a 42-year financial expert. Welcome to the We Can Do It Women movement, where women 50 and wiser step into the spotlight and make the rest of their lives the best of their lives. I'm your host, Deborah Morrison, a wealth building expert who has championed financial empowerment for extraordinary women just like you. Yes, for over 47 years, I've helped women secure their financial futures, and now I'm on a mission to ignite a revolution. Yep, showing the world that at 50, 60, 70, and beyond, some of us might be a nickel slower, yet we're all just getting started. And our esteemed guest comes today to us from Long Island, New York, Andrea Feinberg. Andrea was the president of Coaching Insight, a business coaching and marketing firm focused on helping business owners grow revenue and build better run businesses. She was best known as a business development coach who uses strategic marketing. And for her long career, she helped entrepreneurs improve both business performance and the quality of life. Andrea, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
Well, many of you have noticed that I kept using that whole past tense was because Andrea has shifted. You want to talk about a revolution? This woman has made a very pivotal shift in a very empowering way. And I'm not going to say it. I want you to spill the beans. What has changed, Andrea? You have really made a huge pivot, and I congratulate you.
Thank you very much. Yes, I've made an enormous change in my life, necessitated by circumstance that I didn't anticipate, and then a desire to make the rest of my life the best that I could. And as you said, I've had a lot of business credentials and experience for 40 years, worked on Wall Street. I've loved every enterprise in which I have been involved. And in the last several years, um, when I planned to divorce my husband, only because it just wasn't the right fit any longer, he subsequently had a life-changing accident that put him in a nursing home where he started to disappear every day, a little bit. And it was a terrible, terrible, depressing situation to witness, to support him as I could, which really didn't jive at all with what I had intended to do after divorce. I was supporting someone I lived with for 25 years, and at the same time working much harder. I am not, as you said, an employee with a steady paycheck. I'm a business owner, which means I have to hustle. And so hustling more so without the support of a husband's income, and supporting a husband who was in tremendous decline, put me in quite a funk. And I was really at a pretty low point at the end of my 70th year and realized this was not what I anticipated. This is not what I wanted. And so I made some significant changes to my life, all of which have worked out. The result being, as you suggested and then we discussed, I'm having the best years of my life now and anticipate only more of the same. I enrolled in a local university to start taking classes. I joined a weekly discussion group, so I was around people and interesting topics. I committed to seeing at least one of my friends every single week, and I started dating. So
Yes.
all of these things led to a pretty happy life. And I'm really pleased that I only anticipate more of the same as every day goes. And I have written a manuscript. It's not the first book I've written, but it's in a completely different vein. And it's a book about transformation, which is what I've enjoyed. And I employed a series of simple steps, no rocket science, no financial investment, just good common sense changes that I made in my life that led me to a really happy place. And I've documented that in a book and used my own life as an example for seasoned women so that anyone who wants something other than what is traditionally considered the path that a woman might take with retirement or sale of her business, if she doesn't want to be playing golf, if she doesn't want to be knitting booties for the grandkids, I am teaching how to do it in a book called Sex, Sensuality, and the Senior Woman. And that is the direction that I have embarked upon. I don't necessarily assume anybody wants to take the particular direction I took. However, whatever goal any woman might seek, might have an unrealized dream, may not realize that she has options available. I'm going to show her how to get it done, as I said, without investment, without unusual skill, without peculiar resources, with common sense, determination, and a support system.
Well, I am enlightened about this whole shift and really eager to get my hands on your book. And this is coming out in August, so everybody will
That's
stay
right.
tuned, and we'll give you the website later so you can stay abreast of when that is actually going to
Thank you.
get out and able to be in our hands. So you've drawn various themes, if you will, core themes between your coaching insight mission, right? Radically accelerate revenue with a business that contributes to a happy, abundant life.
Yeah.
We kind of give that lip service, but you, every pun intended, you've put whole new meaning to giving that lip service. Oh, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
I just got a little bit, well, I just got engaged there. So your book addresses happiness, fulfillment, and abundance later in life, extending that happy, abundant life mission beyond just
Hmm.
business to personal. And that is so critical. So talk to us about, you talk about the unspoken concerns women live with every day around sex and sensuality as they age. Like what?
Well, instead of talking about the problems, let's talk about the very happy reality.
Yes.
Uh, I discovered, completely unbeknownst to myself, that there are generations of men much younger than I who are seriously interested in significantly older women and for very reasonable, well thought out, considered reasons. And I was dumbfounded to discover this exists. I had no idea. I know that I look a little younger than my 73 years. I have high energy. I'm a business owner. I've been very lucky. As I say to people, I work damn hard to be so lucky. But the first thing I discovered as a senior woman when I started to date, and I put myself on a dating website for over 50 aged people.
Okay.
The first man who approached me was 34. And I figured if he's on this website, he is actively seeking out older women. And I have not dated anyone over the age of 59. In I'm currently dating a man who is 53. I had a year-long relationship with a man who was 49. It's been a remarkable experience in every conceivable regard, and I'll let your imagination run wild because wild is what it has been. And I found that my eyes were opened to an unexpected environment
Yes.
in which older women were not considered out to pasture, unimportant, invisible, without intellect, without contemporary thought, but instead wildly attractive,
Yeah.
wildly desired.
Yes.
And the discussions I've had, every man who I've met or spoken with or was fortunate enough to have a relationship with, I asked, what is this about? And I got 16 very credible reasons. Obviously, I'm not going to get pregnant. That's an easy one to just put aside.
That
But
works.
older women know what they want.
Right.
Older women do not withhold sex as part of a game. Older women are much more interesting to talk with than younger women, presumably. I can't speak to the truth of these things, but these are thought and considered and the foundational reasons that men in their 30s and 40s and even several in their 20s have
Huh.
sought me out.
Mm.
And I certainly have not dated anyone below the age of 34. But I find I've had interesting conversations with educated men who are thoughtful, who are well mannered, who are intelligent, and who believe that older women also represent a feather in their cap if they can please an older woman who has much more worldly experience. So there has been a lot of this, and that was hugely eye-opening. I mean, talk about a reason to get over depression. This was certainly a major one for me.
Yes.
This was quite surprising. So the combination of this very personal journey that I've been on, combined with the need to reorient my life after divorce and a very difficult decline and subsequent death of my former husband, um, led me to discover a world I didn't know existed. And it's put me in a very happy place. I mean, do I look like a very happy woman to you? I am a very happy woman. And
Jumping off the screen.
so I put it all in a book with a series, as I said, 10 steps, common sense, nothing that anyone would have to go to school for or invest in or stand on their head, but just 10 steps to achieve any goal that anyone might want to bring into their life, especially if it's not conventionally acceptable. If someone may look at you askance,
And they
uh,
will, I'm sure.
and
Yes.
they possibly will. But nevertheless, everything is available to those who seek and follow my system, which is largely common sense, but very success producing.
Well, this whole adage of our, as we can do women movement, bringing women from the sidelines where society's kind of shuffled them or kicked them, and not having paid them in the meantime, which is another whole topic. Yet this aspect of us uh, being at the prime of our lives, we notice patterns that younger women don't notice. We and men don't notice, largely speaking. We have great intuition often. I think we're hardwired with common sense, and those are completely attractive qualities in a
Yeah.
woman if we can shed the how old are you, how old am I, and the notions that follow. And so you've done that very, very marvelously, and I commend you. So how do you um, how have your thoughts about being a senior woman? Do you even call yourself a senior woman anymore?
I don't think about it really.
Yeah.
I don't feel much differently today than I did 20 years ago. It's all a continuum. And for me, this continuum is leading me towards an ever improved quality of life.
Yeah.
I know more, I learn more, I open myself more easily, I say yes far more frequently than I ever did. I'm open to a lot. Um, I'm an educated person who is surrounded by educated, intelligent friends and colleagues. And so that opens me to a tremendous range of opportunities. And I know how to assess what's good for me and what is not, and what may be intriguing, but maybe I'll try it next Thursday rather than today. I have those experiences partially because I have been a business owner since 1988. And so I've made a lot of decisions. I've had failures. I've made mistakes, but everything leads me towards improvement. And I have a very positive attitude, and that's a huge resource.
Yes.
The assumption that at the end of the day, I will have gained, I will have learned, I will have supported, something good will have happened that allows me to have a scoop of vanilla ice cream if I want. So that's my demeanor. And that's something I hope everyone will recognize as a huge starting point. Have a positive attitude, assume the best. And the best may not come immediately. It may come in 6 months after bumps, but I always assume something good is going to happen no matter what experience I endure or enjoy.
Well, this is profound because you're pushing the boundaries of what society has said, oh, that's not, what people do, whatever, the axioms. Sorry. The question I have is, so when you socialize, so after you get to know each other and you're in a relationship, and when you go and meet with his friends, are his friends his age, and then accompanies you with your friends, maybe from business or otherwise, and what's been your situation in terms of has there been anyone, and I probably would say if they rolled their eyes, then they would be kind of a former friend. But were there any things that surprised you when you went to meet with his friends who may have been his age more, and yours may have been more your age? Did that pose any issues?
No, no issues. No, you know, I assume that people with whom I spend time are educated, are contemplative, are filled with gratitude, and like myself, forward
Mhm.
thinking and positive people.
Yeah.
And so, unless they are colleagues over which they have no choice, their associates, friends, and family are part of that mindset as well. And so, the only time I have endured some negative responses with were two women who were friends and a former lover of the man with whom I had had a long-term relationship. And they thought, you're 70, you're 71. Go find somebody older, leave him alone. And that was simply an age-based negative response. There was no assessment of me as a person, whatever I may represent in a positive way to the gentleman I was with at the time. It was strictly age was the defining factor. And that's not uncommon. I think that society at large assigns roles at
Yes.
different ages of life.
Mhm.
And by the time I'm this age, I'm look at the color I'm wearing.
Yes.
I'm supposed to be staid and the go-to babysitter for the grandkids or whatever. My attitude is supposed to be conservative and established. There's nothing new for me to do, to learn. And may I say that's all bullshit?
With a capital B. So this has to be interwoven in your 10-step system of personal transformation, and I invite people to tap into that because the wisdom that you have gleaned as a coach and now as a woman entering into a very vivacious and fulfilling chapter of your life is amazing. And so you're writing erotica, you're writing, publishing stories and so forth and so on. It's not just this book. It's not limited. You seem to be expanding into other avenues whereby you can express yourself.
Yeah, this is a completely new experience for me. I have been writing erotic stories. I never did it before. I've always enjoyed writing. And as I said, this is not my first book, but it's always been business. Or I've written blogs for whatever topic a client required. I never have I written erotica. And I get very positive feedback from gentlemen
Um,
who read what I have written. I will be turning my attention more towards female satisfaction. I've been writing a lot about a man's satisfaction, but the man's satisfaction delivers pleasure to the woman who's in a position to offer that.
right now.
So it's been a fascinating journey to go from purely business development and 10 years on Wall Street and focusing on marketing to find myself in a different arena because of my own personal experience. And I recognized that there are others who can learn from the experience I've had, which seems to be working out pretty nicely for me. But I have to say there was something else at work, and not everybody has this. I grew up in a female head of household home. My mother was had a very tragic circumstance when I was a very little girl, when I was 2.5, when my sister was a couple of months. My father came down with polio and spent
Oh,
the rest of his life in an iron lung
oh, oh my
in
gosh.
what used to be called Welfare Island in New York, but which is today Roosevelt Island and highly gentrified. And this was the mid 1950s.
Mm.
And so I grew up with the assumption that this is the way things are. I knew my friends had daddies at home. I did not. I had a mother who worked, who employed either my grandmother or a babysitter. And the same thing was true of my aunt, my mother's sister, who, when she was pregnant, her husband decided to leave the household. And so there was my second example, both women very close to me who I could easily see supporting their children on their own. So from a very young age, I saw these role models as the norm. So it was not at all difficult for me, to walk away from the last job I had in 1988, and say, I'm going out on my own, and sure, I can do it. I can do whatever I want to do as long as I have the right tools. And a lot of the right tools are up here.
Yes,
And
of course.
I try to employ them frequently. So I've been very fortunate, with the background, with the upbringing I had, and just with the way my mind responds to circumstance, opportunity, or even disadvantage, from which I have to expel myself into something better.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So, briefly, what do you see next?
This book is going to have a big impact on me. I'm just learning how to use Substack.
Oh, good, good,
Uh,
good.
yeah, because I like to write, and that's really a writer's platform.
Oh,
And that's where I'm putting up a presence, both for sex, sensuality, and the senior woman,
nice.
and also personal transformation. So two separate arenas, two, different, similar audiences. I tend to like to talk to myself all day, so I'm talking to senior women a lot, and but for two different reasons. One will be personal transformation, and the other will be more towards erotica. Although in this book, they are combined, but I will separate them for those who are interested in one and not necessarily the other.
Okay. And that those ideas and the preferences shift and change as you have witnessed in your life and taken and said yes, Andrea. That is so critical. You've said yes, and I applaud that because I want us to say yes more and more as we
Mhm.
age because there is so much out there, and the world needs our wisdom. It needs our stories. It needs our experiences, and it needs our witnesses like you to stand up and say, no, I am not washed up and I am going for everything that's there and more. I congratulate you. How can our people be in touch with you?
I'm currently very active on my business website, which is marketingthatrocks.com. And so that's where I have a presence. I also have a presence on LinkedIn with my name, Andrea Feinberg. I'm active on where I think Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest. So, but really the website is where I continue to offer marketing services for those who are looking to improve their um, familiarity with and engagement and long-term relationship with their own clientele, and very much with a focus on personal happiness, because why should a business owner have a business if it's not going to make them happy? So that's really my focus in everything. So marketingthatrocks.com, or Andrea at bossonthebeach.com, which is my email address. Those are two great places to find me, and it wouldn't be hard because I'm all over the internet.
Exactly. Well, I thank you so much. And we'll have all of those places in the show notes. You won't have to search around. You can just click and find more about Andrea. And especially everybody mark your calendars. Stay tuned for August when the release of Andrea's book is likely. So, Andrea, thank you so much for being with us and for
Thank
sharing
you.
your new experiences and your joy. I am lit up about it and completely resonant with your pursuing your happiness. God love you.
Thank you so much, Deborah.
You're welcome. And thank you, viewers, for joining us on the We Can Do It Women show. Remember, I see you, I value you, and your greatest chapter is just beginning. If today's episode sparks something in you, I invite you to take Andrea's lead. Yes, get in the game, maybe get back in the game or get in the game. Hey, I want you to make this next chapter absolutely expansive and filled with fun and ice cream cones. Well, that's just my mind. Okay, until next time, you be well.